I'm Skylar Lawrence LaBelle. For those of you that don't know me or haven't had a chance to meet, VP of Marketing here at iGUIDE, and I will be hosting this masterclass. So thank you all for joining us. With me, thrilled to have Kevin, co-founder, oversees our managed services, and he's really an expert that will be able to help guide the discussion today. Off screen, we've got Maya. She's part of our marketing team. She will be sending us or fielding us any questions that you submit. So feel free to provide any of those questions in the chat function, and Maya will share those with us through the conversation. So you've all signed up for it. You likely have an idea of what we're going to be talking about, but for those that don't, and I'll start with that. Really, the conversation today will be about how you can grow your business through site measurement and documentation. So at iGUIDE, in the last 6 months or so, we've released these new drawing packages that are really targeted to a new type of person and company that maybe is a bit different than those that you would have been targeting as a real estate photographer. So we're going to spend the next half hour, 45 minutes talking about what these drawing packages are, what is site documentation, and really for all of you real estate photographers, how you can take your iGUIDE PLANIX camera system that you've got today and really grow your business through new channel. So I think it'll be an exciting conversation. The first bit here will be a Q&A format between Kevin and myself. We'll talk to a few of the resources that we've got available. We'll spend a bit of time on the Help Center, but the purpose of this conversation is really to introduce you to the drawing packages, who they're for, what value they bring, where it sits on that construction process. So excited for the conversation ahead.
Absolutely, very much so.
Cool. Well, why don't we jump into it? I think everyone can hear us, it sounds like. If you can't, raise your hand now, but I'm assuming everyone can. So we'll start. Kevin, can you just provide us a bit of a background, your experience to date? Some are likely familiar with you, but for those that aren't, probably a good place to start.
Absolutely. Well, many years ago, my career started in design and construction. I was a project manager, and a lot of what I had to do involved site documentation. So go to venues and take measurements and take photographs. I transitioned from that, spending a number of years in that, to construction cost engineering. And that is, again, in that built world, but focused on managing budgets throughout the pre-design and design periods, and managing spending throughout the construction and post-construction process. Through those two jobs and knowing Alex, we came out with what we thought was ultimately a very quick and efficient measurement system and visualization system, which when we launched it, we found a home in residential real estate, which is, Alex and I started working on it in 2012, and where the business has grown ever since. And then what I did in 2021, I really wanted to take us back to what this original vision was, which was a project management support tool for planning, design, and construction projects. I went and became an iGUIDE Pro, much like you attending. And I wanted to see how our technology would work and create a blueprint for taking what we can do with the iGUIDE camera, push the boundaries of it, and then apply that to an entirely new market. So essentially create a new tool for iGUIDE pros to leverage their technology and tools, but the knowledge, the skills, and experience that they developed in residential real estate, and apply that to the design and construction world.
Very exciting. You rejoined iGUIDE last 6 months, 8 months?
Yeah.
And oversee now what we call our services business, but really taking the new offering that we have to market.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of initiatives. Certainly at the forefront is what we're doing for our existing iGUIDE pros and helping them. But what I'm doing is I am going and creating awareness and attention for this new advanced drafting program among, as you call it, the Fortune 100. So many of you I've worked with and used through Maply and even used here, where we might have a national retail or a national restaurant chain that needs to have this advanced drafting or site measurement service done for a new location. So what I'm doing is I'm connecting and leveraging iGUIDE pros across our network to go and fulfill those national orders. And what's exciting is seeing the advent and how iGUIDE has grown, that we now have iGUIDE pros in every province across Canada and every state across the United States, that we are now definitively a North American powerhouse that can service anyone, anywhere.
That's very exciting. For all of the pros that are joining us today and anyone that watches this recording after, I will highlight the Ion directory. It's where Kevin is going to find you to go and capture. So definitely make sure you have your profile there. You would have received an email from us yesterday. We're excited in launching a new Ion directory, so replacing the current one that we have, to get loaded and your profile updated on there. There's a couple steps involved. It takes all of 2 to 3 minutes. So feel free to join us on that new Ion directory, and we're excited to launch that. I think in terms of the conversation, it probably makes sense to start with really the difference between what we'd call, an iGUIDE photographer today. So someone that specializes in capturing real estate and listings, typically for agents. And the other side of that is more of a measurement expert. And what does that mean to be a measurement expert? Where does that fit into this? How do we think about that?
Well, it's much like how taking how we position ourselves, and I'm talking as real estate photographers, and just flipping the script a little bit. Realtors always have their team. They've got their real estate photographer that anytime they've got a new listing, their first reaction is to give you a call and say, I've got this listing, here's the address, I need you to go out, I need photos, I need the iGUIDE, I need the floor plans. It's really the same within the floor plan world. Just as every market has you, their real estate photographer, every market has somebody who's doing the floor plans. So I've just signed this new lease, I need to do a renovation, I need to do a fit out. There are go-to people, whether they're within the company or whether they're outside contractors, who they tap to do their floor plans. So part of this is now thinking of yourselves, and as you said, photography experts versus measurement experts. We are now making you floor plan companies, and ultimately to start thinking of yourselves as, we're a photography, a media, an iGUIDE, we're that company, but now we're also a floor plan company. And understanding that business and really leveraging the technology, the skills, the knowledge and experience you have created. I now being in the measurement world, I use the terminology of capture professionals, because really what we're doing is we're really focusing on our LiDAR and the measurement functionality. But as iGUIDE capture professionals, you can now look at yourselves as measurement professionals as well, and using that to really develop knowledge, expertise, and opportunities within that measurement world.
And so we're clear for everyone watching. We're not talking about a new camera system here.
Nope.
The camera they've got can capture the data needed.
Absolutely. The IMS5 can certainly deliver some of the 2D packages.
Yeah.
For the Revit packages, the elevations, we do have a special data capture process that would require a PLANIX camera, because we are now putting the camera on its side. But yes, this is really, it's really taking everything that you've got in your backpack and just using it a new way.
Cool. I think it probably makes sense to start with the stages of a construction process, what that looks like, and then from there, potentially highlighting where the iGUIDE deliverables would sit along that.
Yeah.
To do that, why don't, I know we've got a visual that's helpful. I will bring that up on screen. So we've got a visual up here, and I'll confirm with Maya that everyone's able to see it. Perfect. She's giving us a thumbs up. Can you walk us through what we're looking at here, Kevin?
Absolutely. And this is consistent whether it's a residential project or a commercial project. But for the most part, every design and construction project follows the same steps. Step one is concept. It's the idea. It is, hey, in residential, I want to renovate the kitchen. In commercial, it's I maybe want to open a new restaurant. That is a concept. Next step is site selection. A little bit different for residential because the assumption is you've already got the home. You know, I want to renovate my kitchen, you've got the kitchen. But in commercial, then you have to go out and you have to acquire the site. To acquire the site, that often requires a real estate team. So internally, concept and site selection in a home, that is the family owner or the owners of the home. But in commercial, there's certain departments or responsibilities that take care of that. So within site selection, there's generally a real estate team. Outside of the organization, you've got outside, we call them consultants and contractors who help with that. So you've got the building owner who might be either leasing or selling the property. And they, of course, have their owner's representative, so the commercial realtor. The tenant or the person trying to purchase a building, they have their representative. So there are people that are involved in that site selection process. Pre-design, that's really where we are positioning ourselves, which we'll go in. Pre-design is as soon as that site is determined, that project is determined. So in residential, yes, we are definitively renovating that kitchen.
Sure.
In commercial, that is, we have picked 123 Main Street. We've leased the property. Next step is pre-design. And that is, first step is, what have we got? Well, that involves site measurement. That involves taking photographs so that you can share that among the people involved. And it involves documenting the equipment. What is our HVAC system? What is our electrical system? So all that information is gathered in that pre-design period and process. And oftentimes that's either done internally or that's done by a designer or an architect or an engineer or an outside measurement company. This is where iGUIDE is really coming in, is that pre-design period. Once the designers, the architects, the designers and the engineers have all that, what we call existing site condition information, then they start the design process. They start to manipulate and change what is there. And they create what is called a set of construction drawings, and they create a set of permit drawings. The permit drawings go to the city or the government body that issues the rights to then go and construct. And that construction set of drawings goes to the contractors. And that is a segue for the next period, which is tendering.
Sure.
That construction drawing set goes to general contractors and subtrades. And essentially what they're doing is they're building a schedule and they're building a budget. And from that, it moves to construction, where your contractors and your trades go and construct the project and do all the changes to the site that's required. This is where iGUIDE comes back in. This is sort of what we call our third opportunity to position ourselves in this construction process, and we're using the radix. So what happens throughout construction is the homeowner might pop back in and see where we at with the progress. How's the framing coming in? How's the equipment coming in? How's it all looking? Where are we at to budget and where are we at to schedule? A homeowner, it might be fine because they can pop down the street or pop in after work. But in commercial, they might have a site in Sarasota, Florida, and they're living in or working out of Kingston, Ontario, and they simply can't get there in time. Well,
Sure.
that is where the iGUIDE Pro can come in. We can very quickly go in, do a radix scan for them, and then within 24 hours, they've got immediate access to the site.
Yeah.
Once that construction's done, it moves into the final stage, which is occupancy. At occupancy, we call it facility management, but now you know what you've got. Now you need to furnish it, you need to manage it, you need to maintain it. That is our final iGUIDE opportunity, where we can come back in, do a nice iGUIDE. A lot of us, hopefully in the real estate photography world, are familiar with these, because a lot of people that I talk to, iGUIDE pros I talk to, work for renovators, architects, and designers who call us in to make those pretty pictures to help them market the process at the end. So that really is that final stage. So if you understand those 7 stages: concept, site selection, pre-design, design, tendering, construction, and occupancy, really any and every project will fall somewhere within those 7 steps.
And I think what's interesting here, to your point, is that really for a lot of our iGUIDE pros out there, they're getting involved with that occupancy, really coming up with that marketing package for either the commercial or residential. The next slide we'll move to here is there's another potentially 3 opportunities on a single project that some version of an iGUIDE could be created.
Yeah. And even on that site selection step, a lot of us, and we call ourselves residential real estate photographers, because we all know there's not a lot of business in commercial real estate photographer. Everybody, every commercial realtor, or a lot of them, I don't want to generalize, but a lot of them simply don't have the budget built into their programs for an iGUIDE, for a virtual tour. A lot of us might go out and take pictures for commercial realtors, but there's simply not a lot of opportunity for iGUIDE as a marketing tool. When you look at that site selection process, and I even had a conversation with one of our pros this morning, and he would say there's many times that I'm out on site taking pictures while the floor plan guy is out there. And while we're sitting there clawing and scraping to get our $350 for some pictures, that floor plan guy is charging a few $1,000s to do a floor plan. You're like, I want a piece of that. How do I get that money?
Yeah.
And that's where we've developed these CAD packages to say, now you can. Because some of you, and some of you might have success selling iGUIDE Premium and Standard to commercial realtors to help with marketing those listings. A lot of times, though, they say that's simply not good enough. We need something a little bit more sophisticated. And that's where the CAD package comes in. So yeah, these are our opportunities. So when you look at where and what can I sell? Well, at site selection, that is dealing with the building owners, the commercial realtors, that these packages are what you can then present to them. And again, it's not the best part is it's not the realtor that pays for the floor plan. It's the building owner. See, the realtors are often responsible for the marketing pieces.
Sure.
It's part of their budget, but the floor plans are part of the disclosure document package. When you're leasing or you're selling a space, you are obligated to provide a floor plan. So therefore, the building owner pays for it. That's how the floor plan guys make all the money, is boom, that invoice goes off to the building owner.
Yeah.
And why at Mapley we had success working with commercial realtors, and they would refer us to the building owners, is they'd say, hey, bill the owner for the floor plan, but give me a copy of the iGUIDE and the photos. And then now their marketing's free.
Sure.
So we had a lot of success doing that. And then, yes, the pre-design. So once that space is leased, you might have the architect, the interior designer, or if it's a renovation where it's not a buy or sell opportunity, again, they all need to go in, they all need to take measurements, they need to take photos, and they need to do those as-built drawings. And that is where the CAD packages come in. The CAD packages are purpose-built for that pre-design period. And then during construction, again, something quick, you don't need a drafted floor plan. They just want to be able to take a look around. They want to be able to take measurements. They want to be able to share it. So if they're having a virtual site visit where you've got the contractor on the call, designer on the call, the owner on the call, and any other stakeholders, they can use that iGUIDE Radix to run that meeting. And then everybody knows those occupancy packages where, again, the CAD, it's great to have at that point, but the iGUIDE Premium and the iGUIDE Standard also work there as well. So these are the points that these packages fit.
That's great. The conversation you and I had yesterday that I thought there was an interesting kind of nugget in that. So when at iGUIDE, obviously we're all about the 3D tour plus the accurate floor plan. In this package, it's really the ultimate solution to market and sell a property. The business has been built on that. You all have built your businesses and really added iGUIDE. The piece I found interesting was the importance of a floor plan through this process. It's no longer what you would call a nice to have. It's a mandatory and really the cornerstone to whether it's a residential or commercial project.
Yeah, that's what I liked about these CAD packages and this advanced drafting program that we've established, is all of us have done a great job making our service almost essential. I mean, everywhere we
Yeah.
go, people have floor plans, they have virtual tours for their listings, but that floor plan is an essential part of that planning, design, and construction process. When you're submitting a job to get permission from your local governing body, they want to see, what did it look like before and what are you doing to it? And if it's any alteration to the building, they want those drawings. And architects and interior designers and even a lot of contractors, they work within these various CAD programs to build their drawings, to build their plans. Therefore, that CAD package is absolutely essential.
Sure. So why don't we maybe move into, in the next slide here, I think does a nice job just outlining, we're talking these CAD packages, and I'm happy to pull up the plotted PDF, but what is an iGUIDE Pro? They order one of these. What can they expect in terms of deliveries? And what's coming with a CAD package?
Well, first is you get what we call as-built floor plans. And, you know, the as-built being, here's what's there. This is what you've got today. And they're a CAD drawing package. They are drawn to such a state that really the designers, all they need to do is open it up and start manipulating the drawing. Some of the floor plan companies out there today, even some of the iGUIDEs, if you're working with a contractor or you're working with an architect or designer, using just the standard iGUIDE, they are taking that drawing and they are having to redraw it within some sort of CAD software. So you've taken them halfway there by saving them the task of going out to measure themselves, but they're still having to draw it.
Sure.
Our CAD package is now giving them the drawing. So we provide you with what we call the 2D CAD package. You're getting your as-built floor plans. What we're doing is we're also bundling in a dimension plan. And that dimension plan is mostly used for what we call material takeoff. So they're taking those measurements and those standard areas and they're figuring out their costs. So they're using that for their budgeting purposes. So that's what the dimension plan is. And again, with that 2D CAD package, they're coming in a CAD format and they're coming in a plotted PDF format. And that plotted PDF has a lot of value to you as the pro, as a marketing and even a communication piece. With the drawings, you still get your 3D virtual walkthrough. And one of the things that we started doing at Maply that added a tremendous amount of value to our clients was we were tagging all the building system equipment. So we were taking photos of the make, model, and serial information for the furnaces, for the electrical panels, for all that base building equipment that they need to enter into that permit package. The government wants to know, what is your electrical loads? What sort of air system are you running? We're providing all that so that, again, the contractor, the architect, the engineer doesn't have to make an additional trip back to site to gather that information. That is in the basic CAD package. With the 3D CAD package, now we're providing you with the files. You still get your CAD file, but now you have a Revit model. Revit is simply another software. It's a 3D design software that some architects, some designers might work in. So it's just a more advanced file format. And then we also give you your exterior elevation drawings and your roof plans. With both the 2D CAD package or the 3D CAD package, you can add a reflected ceiling plan. Reflected ceiling plans are, I would say, exclusively a commercial product. That's where they want to understand, if you've got a drop ceiling, they want to understand where the air return units are, where the lighting fixtures are, all that additional detail that they might, if they're trying to save some of what's existing in the roof, they're going to want a reflected ceiling plan. It's simply, do you want one or don't you?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm going to move back out of the screen share and they can see more of you and I.
Comments in the chat? No.
Is there no questions at this point? Feel free. We'll move back to, maybe we'll take another question that I can share with you, Kevin, and then see if anyone has any comments on that construction process, exactly what you're delivering and how this fits in. We can highlight also if you land an opportunity or looking to order this, you can do so through the crate page. So the same way you'd go about ordering an iGUIDE standard, an iGUIDE premium, you can find a 2D CAD package on that crate page. There's a 3D CAD package as well as these add-ons that Kevin's talked to. So the ordering process is similar to what you'd be doing today. Why don't we shift gears a bit and talk to, I'm an iGUIDE Service Pro. Maybe I'm in the Chicago area, have a booming real estate photography business. How do I even approach or go about, finding work, finding people to sell these drawing packages to?
Well, the one thing that I like is I would talk to somebody, an iGUIDE Pro who's got an existing real estate photography business. And as you're about to launch this, reflect on what have you done to get your real estate photography business to where it is today? What tools did you use? What marketing did you do? Trade shows? Did you do door knocking? What did you do to get that business? Now, are you happy with it? Do you want to do that again, or do you want to do something different, do something more, do something faster? But really, the nice thing about what we're doing with this new market of architects, designers, contractors, building owners, commercial realtors, it apply the same playbook to this new group of people. I mean, again, this is why it's such a seamless thing for our real estate photographers to jump into, because you're rerunning the playbook. You're looking at what you did, and you can either improve it, you can run it again, but you're targeting home renovators, you're targeting architects, you're targeting interior designers, and you're targeting commercial realtors and building owners. And again, a lot of the iGUIDE pros I've talked to already have these people within their Rolodex, if you will, if anyone still remembers what that is.
But within their network, right?
Yeah, within their network.
Yeah.
You may have done work for them. A lot of people say, well, I've worked with architects, I've done some of their marketing photos. You might have worked with home renovators, done their marketing photos. This is an opportunity to say, hey, what are you doing at the very beginning of your project? And people say, well, what's the first thing how do you start? And I just say, how do you get your site measurements and your as-built drawings? Whenever I talk to anyone, how are you doing that today? I don't even ask them whether they need them or not, because the answer is yes. So that's where it becomes that whole establishing need.
It's already there.
It's already there. So it's like, all right, we know you need it. How are you doing it? I'd like to show you what I'm doing. And then that is where this page that we walk through, this is what we're doing. So take a look at our plotted PDFs, take a look at our CADs, our Revits, and our walkthrough. Here's what we're doing. And how does this line up with what you're doing today? And the answer should be, because our drafting is incredible, it is as good or better than what we're doing today. So that is what I do. And
that's great.
Yeah.
And I can highlight, so some of you, as you start thinking about website, for example, the first question becomes what type of content I'm putting up there. Here at iGUIDE, we love to support all aspects of your business, and can share that the marketing catalog that's on the Help Center, and I'll go to that here shortly, has resources available. So there's presentations already in there that you're welcome to use. Samples of these drawing packages, both residential and commercial, can also be found in there. So we're starting to build out more assets, resources that are specific to these drawing packages that are there for all of you to use. In addition to that, I'll highlight the customer success team. So a group that both Kevin and I work closely with, really is your back office support. And we can talk about that a bit further, but our customer success team here is really there as your resource to really ensure that you're successful as you try and build out this new channel and new opportunity. Do you want to take a couple questions? Sure. Why don't we go to Maya with a couple questions, and then we can talk to potentially how one would think about pricing of these packages.
Yeah, so we got a question from Lisa. She's asking, do we need to capture the scans differently for these iGUIDEs? She hasn't done the package yet.
The answer is same, but different. In that, yes, it's not like it's completely revolutionary. It's doing a lot of what you're doing, but more of it. And I would ask people, whether you pay attention or not when you're scanning, Are you looking at that point cloud? You know, you click at the top right-hand side, and you can either go full screen with the visual or the up and down. That point cloud really becomes the essence of what we're doing, and really rich, dense point cloud. So yes, we've got a full data capture requirements. We've got a training program in place.
Yeah.
There are some, I wouldn't say differences, just additions to what you're doing today. Some additional steps in your process, and it'll allow you to create these packages.
Cool.
And another question from AJ is asking how architects, designers, building owners were solving this problem before, and how are they solving it now? If they already had a solution to this problem, what's the value prop for bringing them into it?
It's a fantastic question, AJ. Can we hold maybe 10 minutes? We've got a slide that we'll go into towards the end that I think has, there's really 5 pillars to this value that we're bringing and what we're doing different at iGUIDE and what you can do different, AJ. So if we can put a pin in that one, we'll come back to it maybe 10 minutes.
And then we'll make sure that we answer that part of what are they doing today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, can we talk about pricing? How does one think about pricing these packages? Any comments on that you can share, Kevin?
Every market is different.
Yeah.
Similar to residential real estate photography, like again, same, but different. I would say to iGUIDE pros, much like we did when we learned pricing at Maply, because again, there really wasn't a lot of floor plan companies. A lot of the market was do it yourself. We talked with them. What does it cost you to do this internally, and factor all these different costs in, because it's more than just an hour here, hour there. It's their time on site. It's their time back in the office doing preparing their drawings. It's a time of having to return to site 2, 3, 4 times because they forget information. It's time collecting that other stuff that they miss. So there's a lot of things that go into that cost. And what I would say is, how did you learn to price your residential real estate business? There is, within your market, there will be a going rate. You know, and it's fairly consistent from one location to the next, but some markets, especially in hot markets in the United States, where you're running into labor issues, because this is very much a labor-driven product for architects, designers, and contractors, the price can really scale up and scale down. But it does. It involves some dialogue with people in the market, showing them the package. What would you pay for this? What's the comparative? If you do have existing floor plan companies, great. Find out what they're paying or they're charging.
Yeah.
And that's another great baseline. Much like if you've got other real estate photographers in your market, what are they charging?
Yeah. No, that's great advice. We touched on this, and Lisa will double down on your question here. So I'm a service pro. I've landed my first job, excited to go out there and capture and deliver this. Can you just kind of walk through the now what aspect of this? And maybe while you're doing that, I can highlight on the help center where one could go for some of these training materials that we've talked to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly having the tools and everything you need in place to go out and scan the space. As you're starting out, we've got, and as Skylar's going to bring up, we've got checklists for you on site to make sure that you collect all the information that you need. And then we've got a complete data capture process. So the things that you need to do to capture all the information you need. And as you go through this, and I will say it, all of you have been through iGUIDE camera training. Your first job, your first 10 jobs will take you twice as long as they're meant to.
Sure.
And plan for that. Do that deliberately. Set the good habits. Do not race through those first 10 jobs. Create those best practice habits initially, and then naturally you will find ways to get faster. So go through and do all these scanning steps, learn the steps, go through them, and then as you do more and more of them, look for efficiency.
Perfect. So where I am here and where you would find this. So if you go to our help center, help.youriguide.com, on the left hand drop down here, it's actually under camera systems and survey, advanced capture requirements, and it's going to bring you to this page. If you don't want to navigate on the left-hand side, we actually have a little AI chatbot down the top, bottom right that you could also click on and ask it to direct you here. There's a variety of resources within here. I'll highlight that the customer success team is actively updating and enhancing the deliverables here. We've got some short videos that will be posted here within the next week or so. But definitely feel free to go through this. If you have questions, reach out to our customer success team. There's detail around scanning vertically. Maybe at this point, Kevin, if you want to highlight why you even need to scan vertically. You've talked to having to flip the camera over on the side. What are we looking to do there, and why are we doing that?
Well, we all should be aware where the LiDAR, the horizontal LiDAR point cloud is on the camera. And when we do hit that button, we're firing out that invisible horizontal LiDAR laser line that collects all that data. Well, when you flip the camera on its side, now it's spanning up and down. And what that's allowing us to do is collect some really important vertical data that we need, like ceiling heights, floor-to-floor heights. When you're scanning a stairwell, it allows you, stairwells are a great source of, we call it ground truth data, where you can go floor to floor, floor to ceiling, floor to floor above. So that LiDAR point cloud gives our drafters critical measurement information that we need for creating the 3D models, to create the elevation drawings, and give you some important vertical measurement data.
Cool. The checklist that Kevin talked to is just further down on the page. So you'll see there's examples of what a vertical scan would look like, more detail around 2D versus 3D. And then if you get down a bit further into the page, this is a capture checklist. So if you were to download that, it's a great resource to bring on site with you. Talks to how you would actually set up your project folder. Looks, a checklist in terms of what you're looking to capture, both interior, exterior. If you're dealing with ceiling tiles on site, typically more of a commercial environment, but what that would entail. And then there is actually links as well to a short 10-minute type video, as well as a 1-hour masterclass on these capture requirements. So this is a great PDF and a resource for you to reference. While I'm sharing the screen, maybe I can just touch on. So I've highlighted the marketing resources that are available. I know our marketing catalog at times can be difficult to find, so there's a couple ways you can get to it. If you're on Go iGUIDE, the easiest is looking at resources, and the second option from the bottom there, marketing catalog, will take you to this page on the Help Center. Once you get within the Help Center, some of you may be familiar, for the real estate side of the business. The main resource in here is these presentations, as well as our samples that we have available, and that lives within our marketing catalog. So definitely use these resources as you need, as you see fit, but that's how you can find the marketing catalog to begin with.
Can I ask you one thing, Skylar? And this came up really just before this, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna. I was talking with an iGUIDE Pro who asked me, what is the difference between, when you go into the online ordering?
Yes.
The difference between a DWG and a 2D CAD package, and the difference between a Revit file and a 3D CAD package. And ultimately, it is those plotted PDFs.
Yes.
And the question was, well, how is that important? And if we jump back to that slide that shows the participants, the thing that you need to understand is when we deliver a DWG file or an RVT file, of all these people, and there's a lot of different these are teams, these aren't even necessarily people, but all these teams involved in a project. You go down to the architect, and even among that architect, you've got the owner, you've got probably 4 different people within that architecture firm working on this project. There's only one person out of all those potential people who might actually have a CAD license or a Revit license. So when we're delivering that Revit or CAD file, that is having a very private one-on-one conversation with one person on the project team.
And they need that software, the specialized software to open either that DWG or Revit.
That's right.
Yeah.
And your client might specifically be that one person who says, I need it. Nobody else needs to see it. I need it. In those very small cases, then you would sell the DWG and Revit. At Maply, we never sold just that file. We always sold the plotted PDFs, because when you deliver the 2D CAD package, that PDF becomes accessible to everyone. And for your business, especially developing word of mouth, once that gets in, now everybody on that project team, everybody on here is now sent a copy of it.
Yeah.
So now your drawings are getting in front of everyone. And I was telling this pro this morning, where I would work on a home renovation project, and the architect was brought in to do all the drawings and prepare these things on behalf of the contractor. That architect came to me and said, well, I also do commercial work. Can you help me with some commercial clients as well? Absolutely. Those commercial clients, now she's brought us onto a new job. Now that commercial, like that building owner says, your CAD packages are incredible. I've got some other units in the building that I've got other architects working on. Will you do that? And only because we have these PDFs that are then being shared around,
Yeah.
are we getting out there? So really look at this as your way to broadcast your services. By only selling that DWG or that Revit, that's like passing a note in grade 6. You're only sharing that with one person. Nobody else knows you exist or that file exists.
No, that's great insight. This is an example of what that plotted PDF and that deliverable looks like. Do you want to talk to the QR code and what's linked in that bottom piece there?
Absolutely. Again, a lot of times, and going back to positioning and what you're doing in this space, in residential real estate photography, you are a photographer, you're a virtual tour company. You start getting into this world, a lot of times your questions will be, how much to not get the virtual tour? I mean, these people are coming to you for your drawings. And you could say, well, the virtual tour comes free with the drawings, but trust me, you're really gonna, once you get hooked, and you're never gonna want to do a job without it. In fact, we deliver you these plot PDFs, and we've got a click here button. So we're linking that spatial data to the visual data.
Yeah.
So you're staring at a drawing, and I've done it myself. You're staring at a wall and say, great, there's a wall, but is there a fire alarm on it? Is there a switch on it? Like, can I just take that wall down? And there's a lot of questions that are not answered just by a drawing alone.
Sure.
By linking that virtual tour, which nobody else has done, now you've brought back in all that spatial data, and it's mind-blowing. So we are really emphasizing that. And then the QR code, that was a ingenious from the team here, is if people have printed them off and they don't have the digital version where they can't click here, we've got the QR code. So boom, you can bring that up, scan it, and now up pops the visual. So it does what people will come to us for our floor plans, but they will get hooked on us by the virtual tour.
I think it probably makes sense to go back to, I believe it was AJ's question, around, all right, floor plans exist. They're the cornerstone of these projects. Why don't we start with what is the industry doing today? What's kind of standard? And then what is the iGUIDE value, or what are we doing differently at iGUIDE? Which can talk to kind of these 5 pillars, but maybe start with what's happening today in the industry.
Well, if we go back to the initial where site selection. So commercial realtors will not have a measurement team. Building owners will generally not have a measurement team. So what that group is doing at that point in time is there are those local floor plan companies that are going out and selling that service. So in those cases, there are floor plan companies that have been in business for a very long time and have secretly dominated this world. What we're now doing is we're coming in and we're taking them on. And if any of you are there, apologize, but here we come. So there is some existing players in each market, but when you move into renovation contractors, architects, and interior designers, that work is done in-house. So I would often say my number one competitor is a tape measure or a handheld disto. That is what a lot of them are doing today. And you need to persuade them that that is simply an time-consuming and inefficient process. If you're dealing with contractors, well, all of them, it is the bane of their existence. The contractors know that the only person that they can afford to pull off a job to go out and properly measure a building is one of the juniors.
Sure.
And that junior doesn't know what they're doing. They take bad measurements, they miss photos, they miss information. So inevitably they're going back again and they're going back again. And usually it's somebody senior that goes the fourth time. So now they've literally blown their brains out on just doing that simple as-built and that drawing. And you can get in, as you start chatting with them, they will start commiserating on some of the horror stories they've had around blowing their budgets on site measurement and as-built drawings. Same with architects and designers, where it's usually a low person in the organization who is responsible for going out, taking the site measurements. And a lot of times they'll say it's really weird because I'll send my junior out to measure a 3,000 square foot retail space. They're gone for 8 hours. I send them out to measure a 30,000 square foot office space. They're gone for 8 hours. That junior didn't come back. So, and I'm paying for their entire 8 hours.
Yeah.
And then the next day they're booking out another 8 to 16 hours to draw it up. So really, we should be a better alternative to any in-house solution. And that's the way we position it at Maply. We are competing with your do-it-yourself, and we should be certainly a faster and touching on Skylar's points, enhanced speed. So because it's such a pain in the butt to do it, they put it off. So we're delaying the kickstarting of their projects. They give us a call within a week. They've got their entire drawing package. They've got their virtual site tour. They've got all their equipment information. Wow. Like everything's done at once. Improved accuracy. Same thing. Again, wrong measurements in this world, a bad measurement is a lot more expensive than what we ever will be. So making sure that their measurements are accurate, they're up to date, absolutely important. I'm going to jump across to that streamlined execution. And that again is avoiding those trips back for missing information or wrong information. It really streamlines that design process. And in that commercial world, they don't measure cost in terms of how much your service cost. Their measurement is how many days are we delaying the opening of our business. So if I delay grand opening by 2 weeks, if I'm targeting $250,000 a day in revenue, you're up millions of dollars over those 2 weeks. So streamline execution, absolutely. The hidden benefit between immersive visuals and strengthened collaboration, which are really unique to iGUIDE, is that 360-degree visualization. The iGUIDE creates, having that information inside and out. And I know firsthand, having experienced it, where you're sitting there at a table with an architect and an engineer. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. You're trying to put your drawing package together to the client for when they wake up and get into the office at 9, and you don't have a picture. You're missing some critical wall information. That immersive visual, having that's a lifesaver. And again, trying to commiserate with architects, designers, and contractors, they will all have a story like that of, if they only had this one picture, it would have saved them days.
Yeah.
And using the iGUIDE, that sharing function as a virtual site visit collaboration tool, it's fantastic. So Skylar and the team beautifully, succinctly outlined, that is our value proposition. This is what makes us different than anything else on the market. Hands down.
That's great. Let's shift gears. I'm going to stop the share again here and ask you about, so I know we've talked a lot about enabling our pros with these new drawing packages. these launched about 6 months ago. We have some pros out there today already finding success with this. Is there one or two that you may want to highlight and just talk to, kind of what they've done and what they're finding?
Well, I could start by speaking to Maply when we launched it and had tremendous success, knocking on the doors of home renovators and architects and designers, and even commercial realtors, of introducing this service and the times, and you've even seen it since we've been in here.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this before. What we used to do is so antiquated. I'll
Yeah.
never go back to that. So yeah, when we launched it, we did not do residential real estate photography. We strictly went after that contractor market. So there was a lot of door knocking. You know, we launched this during the heat of COVID, so we did not have trade shows. We could not do in persons. Everything was smiling and dialing.
Yeah.
And even still, really were able to build up a market and build up a following.
Oh, that's great. We're coming up to the top of the hour, being mindful of time. One last question, at least from my side, Kevin. I'm looking at the questions. I believe we've addressed everything that's come in. Kelly, that last file, this is at 240. So we shared the plotted PDF afterwards. And if you are looking for samples, they will be added into that marketing catalog as well. So there will be both residential and commercial samples that you can download and take around as part of your marketing package. What's kind of next in terms of iGUIDE, these drawing packages? Where should our service pros get started? How do they think about that?
Well, I can say, having come back as an iGUIDE service pro and coming inside, I think the greatest thing that I've seen change is this client success team. Like, having a team, and yourselves, like having this amazing marketing team that's building assets. Like, if you looked at the package I used compared to this one, you know, Steve Jobs would say the only thing that you'll know for sure is 12 months from now, you're completely wrong 12 months ago. So yes, absolutely. Like, the marketing assets, you're building them. We're getting feedback from people saying, could we make this? And you guys are putting it out. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. But this client success team, who is dedicated to making everyone on this call successful in this market and whatever market they want to go into.
Yeah.
Making sure you have the assets, making sure you have the answers to the questions. And you need to as you go out and you market these things, having that client success team means you're responsible for solving your customers' problems, but you don't need to be the solution. You've got a team in here that can be the solution for you. If you need somebody with technical expertise to answer those questions, and rest assured, there will be a lot of questions that you don't have the answers to.
Yeah.
There was a lot. I had that technical expertise as well, and I'd push it uphill and just say, Chris, you answer it.
Yeah.
So there's you've got those resources available to you here, and that's the future. I'm really excited by what's been positioned to everyone on this call to build this market out.
I love it. We've talked about our customer success team at length in this discussion. If you're wondering, how do I get in touch with this group of people that's at iGUIDE, customer success at planetar.com will be the easiest path to them. So don't hesitate to reach out. I think your point around, the marketing resources available. So this is a work in progress. I really believe the marketing team here is one of their functions is to support all of you and make you successful as you go out and sell this. So again, share feedback. If you have asks or requests, or you're confused about this piece or that, share that with us. You're out there interacting and selling this every single day. I'm not, and we're not. So definitely please bring that to us, and we'd be happy to support. In closing, is there anything you want to share? Anything you feel like we've missed? Something I should have asked but didn't?
No, I really I'm excited by it, and I wanted to be successful because this is a realization of a vision that started in 2012.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping you're all successful so you can prove me right.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you, Maya, for the support. we'll end the masterclass here. As always, an email follow-up will be sent out, if not today, tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. We'll include some of the links that we reviewed and discussed today as well. And a final highlight, Ion Directory relaunching. So take a look at your inbox for that email that was sent yesterday and set up your profile if you haven't had a chance.
Absolutely. That's a big one.
Amazing. Thank you all for joining. We'll talk to you guys soon and see you again in a couple of weeks for our next masterclass.